Hello, my name is Jenna Westbrook and I'm the Consultant Clinical Psychologist in Salford Learning Disability team and also the lead for our Psychological Therapies team. This video tells you all about the Wellbeing Workshops that we are offering to all people with learning disabilities in Salford as a proactive way of supporting people with their mental health and well-being. Our Wellbeing Workshops have been developed by the Salford Learning Disability Psychology team to help promote mental well-being and improve overall quality of life for people with learning disabilities. The workshops are a proactive way of supporting people to understand stress and how to deal with difficult feelings. The sessions are delivered once a week for 2 weeks and last for about 2 hours each with a break in between. So 2 sessions in total. We usually offer these sessions to a small group of people with learning disabilities. For example, we have run various wellbeing workshops with different groups of people with learning disabilities at some of the day centres in Salford, and our plan will be to offer these to people living in supported tenancies and family homes. These wellbeing workshops have been developed specifically for people with learning disabilities and so are delivered in a way that is accessible and adapted to people with many different levels of ability and understanding. The workshops support people to understand that well-being means being well both physically and mentally. In the workshops, we support people to recognise triggers for stress and other difficult emotions and to identify signs that might mean that they are feeling stressed or overwhelmed. We look at a range of ways to cope with difficult emotions, including activities that are positive for maintaining well-being and strategies for helping to reset our body when emotions get too much, as well as ways that we can help other people to feel better. So in session 1, we explore what well-being means and the different ways people might keep themselves well, including both physical and mental health and the differences between the two. We take a look at what stress is and how people might feel it in their bodies, giving people a chance to explore ways that they feel stress. We also have a chat about things that have made people stressed in the past and find that group members can often relate to one another in their experiences, which is one of the benefits of running this in a group format. Since stress is quite an abstract concept, it's quite a difficult term to understand for some people with learning disabilities. We use what we call the stress bucket to support people to understand the term stress in a more concrete way. We use a big bucket which is empty at first and gradually fill it up with cups of water labelled with the different stresses that people have discussed throughout the session. Group members have the opportunity to lift up the bucket as it fills with more and more water and gets heavier. We discuss how difficult it can feel to carry around all of that stress and how we might feel quite tired and worn out after having to carry that around with us all day. Jacqueline Pritchard attended one of our first Wellbeing Workshop sessions at St George's in October 2023 and was kind enough to let us photograph her for this video, so thank you, Jacqueline. To finish the first session, we then play a game of bingo, but instead of having numbers, the bingo cards are filled with things that might help us feel better. When each item is called, we have a quick discussion about whether anyone has engaged in one of those activities before and how it made them feel. This helps to finish the session on a positive note and plants the seed for what we will go on to discuss in session 2. At the beginning of session 2, we recap on what we spoke about the previous week. We start with a full bucket during this session and have a quick chat about what sorts of stresses might have added to the bucket getting so full. We then discuss calming activities and use cups to empty out the bucket, showing how doing things that help us to feel better can help to get rid of some of our stress. The calming strategies that we use include breathing exercises, simple muscle relaxation, and using the 5 senses to practice a grounding technique. All of these are really useful ways to help us to feel better when we are stressed. We practice each of these strategies and then reflect on how people feel afterwards. People in the group also have the opportunity to give and receive compliments with one another, and then reflect on how it feels to say something nice to someone or have someone say something nice to them. Again, this is another way that helps improve our well-being. By taking out cups of water from the bucket, now labelled with the ways to reduce stress, group members have the opportunity to try to lift the bucket again and see how much lighter and easier it is to lift now that we have used our calming and coping strategies. Towards the end of the second session, we also talk about how other people can help us to maintain our well-being, such as our carers and family, which I will talk about at the end of this video. We evaluate our wellbeing workshops each time we do them. Mood measures that have been specifically adapted for people with learning disabilities are completed before and after the workshops, as well as 6 weeks later. We also collect feedback from people who have participated in the workshops about their experiences, including things they enjoyed and found useful, and ways that they think we could make the workshops better. By collecting this data from people with learning disabilities who have attended the workshops, we can make sure that we are continuously adapting and improving them over time. At the end of session 2, people who attended the workshop also get to take home their own personal wellbeing workbooks. These are easy read booklets that are used throughout the 2 workshop sessions that group members are supported to complete. They include, for example, things that the person finds stressful and things that help them to feel better. The workbook also includes illustrations of the calming exercises that the person will have practiced in session 2 that I spoke about on the previous slide, so that they continue to use and practice these at home. Once the person has attended the wellbeing workshops and so has developed the foundations for considering their wellbeing and how they cope with stress, there are lots of ways that you as a carer can give continued support to build on these skills to ensure that they have a lasting impact. You should go through the workbook with the person regularly to refresh their knowledge and understanding of coping with stress, and also to reaffirm the positive techniques that they have been taught in the workshop. Helping the person to practice the exercises regularly will enable them to access these strategies much more effectively, especially when they really need them. You should make time to talk to the person about their feelings as well. This will help the person to be able to practice talking about and identify different emotions regarding how they feel. And you can offer support and prompts on what to do when they do feel that way. This should also help you as a carer to better understand how the person you support may be feeling emotionally, as this might not always be obvious. Talking about emotions can be tricky for a lot of people with learning disabilities, but the more you take the time to do this, perhaps giving the person more guidance and support as you begin these types of conversations, the better the individual you support will get at it. Another way that you can help a person's wellbeing following these workshops is through providing active support. This means supporting the individual to do activities with the right level of support. Of course, this will be different for each individual and dependent also on the activity that they are doing, depending on how familiar it is to them. This active support means you are empowering people to develop and maintain as much independence as possible, which helps people to feel proud and able to do things well for themselves, which ultimately leads to enhanced well-being. Finally, making plans and having goals for the future is really important to allow people you support to have a sense of achievement as well as having things to look forward to. These should be reviewed and considered regularly with the person you support to look at progress and next steps towards reaching their goals. If you are thinking of someone or a group of people that you support that would benefit from the wellbeing workshops, you are welcome to get in touch with the person's name and address, and we will add them to the list of people to visit. However, these wellbeing workshops are for everyone with a learning disability living in Salford. The plan is to offer these sessions to everyone as a proactive way of promoting mental health and wellbeing. It is a part of the ongoing proactive work that our learning disability team strives to achieve in Salford, but it will take us time to get around the whole of Salford, so please bear with us. If you are supporting a person who you feel would benefit from the wellbeing workshops sooner rather than later, then please, as I said, get in touch. If you feel that a person cannot wait for the wellbeing workshops or needs more specialist or in-depth support, then you are welcome to make a referral to our psychological therapies team as detailed in this slide. If you have any questions relating to the wellbeing workshops, please contact our administration team on the email shown here and ask to speak to either myself or a member of the psychology team. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you soon when we visit to offer the people you support the wellbeing workshops.